Hi everyone, and welcome to the Keys to On-Campus Living. My name is Catherine.
My name is Chris.
And we are very excited that you're here today as we talk about step 2 of the housing application, roommate selection.
Ooh, it's a big one. Also optional. You don't have to do this step if you don't want to.
That's right. So we're going to get into all the nitty-gritty that you need to know about the roommate selection process. As a reminder, our housing application has 3 steps. Your first step is to begin the application and pay your application initiation fee, fill out the My Profile section, which is going to be really important during this second step.
That's actually the most important part, is filling out that My Profile section, answering those questions about yourself to be ready for step 2.
That's right. During step 2, like Chris said, we're going to talk about the optional step that you've got to select a preferred roommate. And then the last step of our application is going to be room selection. And we will make another video where we explain all the things that you need to know. So make sure that you stay tuned for that one. So we will have timestamps to guide you along this video if you want to come back to it at a later time. And at the very end, we are going to answer some of your frequently asked questions. So make sure that you are sharing your questions with us because we are going to be able to answer them throughout this video. All right, shall we get into a little overview?
Let's do it.
All right, and so with roommate selection, like Chris mentioned, and you're gonna hear it multiple times when we talk about it, this is an optional step. So students don't have to select a preferred roommate if they don't want to, but a lot of students like to select a preferred roommate. And so during this chat, we'll give you the steps that you need to follow so that you are able to make the best selection for yourself. So this is all going to be done in the housing portal. By this point, students should be very familiar,
hopefully,
with the housing portal. And so we want to make sure that you are, as a reminder, checking our website and your email. I can't stress enough how important email is.
Now, which email, Catherine?
Your student email. What a great clarification, Chris. Yeah. So make sure that you are checking your student email. We're going to be sending a lot of information your way, not only about this step, but all of the other things that happen throughout your housing journey here at KSU. So make sure that you are checking that often, and as well as the housing portal. You are a whiz at the housing portal, so.
That's right, yeah. We're gonna talk a lot about that.
All about the housing portal.
Yeah.
And so in the housing portal, they're gonna be able to find their time tickets. Now, as a refresher, where can they see it in the housing portal?
So when you're logging into the housing portal to check out what your roommate selection time ticket is, we're gonna put it right in front of you. As soon as you log in, you're gonna see a little announcement page that says, oh, hey, Chris, here's your roommate selection time ticket. It'll show you the day and the time that it opens. Now, these time tickets are really important. We didn't have it for step 1, but for steps 2 and 3, we are going to issue a time ticket to you so that your user experience is as great as it can be. And so just to give an example, we always use this. It's like the stoplights at an on-ramp of a highway. We allow only a certain number of students into the housing portal a little bit at a time so that the experience is great and you don't have any server crashes or any errors or anything like that we have dealt with in the past when we have a large volume of students going in at the same time. So if you start freaking out when you get your time ticket and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm on day 3 of roommate selection, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, just know that that's very intentional. We're allowing about 20 students every 30 minutes into the housing portal, only opening tickets during the workday so that we can help assist you, support you with our Talent One support staff, answer any questions you might have. So yeah, the time tickets are going to be right there, right in front of your face. Now, one of the things that you're going to have to do, even though step 2 is optional, if you want to participate in that, you're going to have to pay the $200 application initiation fee to even get in the door. So if you didn't pay that during step 1, don't worry. You'll get prompted to do so if you want to participate in roommate selection, roommate management, all the things like that.
Yeah, and we're going to have a step-by-step guide that recaps all of this information that we have talked about, so make sure that you check our website for that. Another really important thing to keep in mind as you're going through the roommate selection process is that you're only going to see students of your same classification and your same gender. So keep that in mind. So that means first-year students who are going through this process are only going to be able to see other first-year students. Our upper class students can't select
Can't select roommates,
preferred
unfortunately.
roommates. That's right. And so first-year students will only see other first-year students who are of the same classification and gender on their same campus. So we sometimes have questions that are like, well, my best friend has a major in Marietta. Can I live with them?
No, you
No.
cannot, unfortunately.
That's right. Also, students who are participating in LLVs or living learning villages will also only be able to see students who are also participating in those same living learning villages. So I think that will help clear up some questions that we get where students are something like, I can't see my friend. Like, my friend said that they applied for housing, but I can't see them. Well, they might be on another campus. Or they might be in a living learning village, which means that you can't pair up with them. So that is a lot of great information. I think one of the things that we will emphasize also as we begin talking about the process for selecting a preferred roommate is to not rush this process.
Please don't.
Take your time. And so, Chris, can you tell us a little bit about just kind of the step-by-step that students need to take?
Sure, absolutely. First and foremost, we're going to have a very helpful guide on our website. If you want to download that and walk through the housing portal, we might have some videos available as well for you just to, again, follow along as a visual aid as you're picking roommates. Now, important vocabulary here, we allow roommate pairs.
That's right.
Which is 2 people in a roommate
Just 2.
pair. That means for every student, you get to pick one preferred roommate. We use the word preferred because we can't always guarantee that we're going to have space for 2 people. Depends on where you fall, where your time ticket falls during room selection. But please check out our helpful guide on the website. And we'll talk about 2 different scenarios. What we typically see is students either come to KSU and they know someone, their best friend from high school that they want to live with. They already know who they want their preferred roommate to be. Other students may be coming from out of state. They might not know anybody that's coming, and they might want to do what Catherine recommended, which is take their time, go through, look at potential roommates for them, and then select a roommate that way. Then there's a third type of student that is potluck, like me. You don't care who you're living with, you just need a room on campus, and you'll take whoever picks a room in your unit with you. So again, because this is optional, don't feel like you have to know who you're going to live with and go through this process. But we'll walk through it. So when you get into the housing portal, if you fall into that category where you know 100% who you want to request as a roommate, you can create your pair. And you will actually see, it'll say like create roommate pair, and you'll be able to pick a name for your pair and also set a password. So let's say my time ticket opened up before Catherine's and we wanted to be roommates. I could create a roommate pair that is Chris and Catherine. I could give it a very specific password, and then I can give that information to Catherine so that when her time ticket opens up, she can go in there, go to that group request, put in the password, we're connected. We're done. I mean, sometimes it happens just that quickly. So for the other students that may not know anybody, there's some different search options that you have. I highly recommend there is a suggested roommates button down at the bottom of that page. If you click on that, the system will spit out, based on an algorithm, roommates that might be a good match for you based on the answers to those questions that you did in step 1.
And like, I think this is a really good time to mention that if you were breezing through step 1 and you didn't pay attention through those questions, you can go back and edit them. And so I recommend going back and doing that before roommate selection opens up or before you're starting to look for roommates, so that your profile is as accurate as it can be. I think sometimes our students are very excited and like they want to get those really early time tickets, and so they are rushing through that step 1. But if you didn't take the time to really look at your answers during the My Profile section, go back and edit your profile so that those recommended suggestions are as accurate as possible.
Also, I would say if your parent and or guardian did the application for you, they may not have answered those questions as honestly as you might have answered them if you did it yourself.
They answered them with their wishes. They're so clean.
My little angel doesn't keep a dirty room.
Be honest.
Be honest, please. The other part that's very important is your contact information. So again, in step 1, you had the option to include a cell phone number, an email address, a Snapchat, TikTok, and Instagram handle. Now that we're to the point where that information is going to start getting shown to people, if you don't want that shown, make sure to go back and clear that out. Or if you want to be readily accessible and easily found, you can go in there and add some of that information. But again, the system will give you suggested roommate matches, or you can search by first, last name, whatever the method is. I highly recommend just clicking on the suggested roommate matches. From there, you can look at everybody's profile. You can see how they answered all their questions, if they shared their Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat. You can go do a little sleuthing online and see if you might be a good match with them, see if they're Taylor Swift fans or not.
Very important.
Very important, very important. So then, once you find someone you want to connect with, you're actually going to send them a request. And it's going to say, hi, I'm Chris. I would like to be your roommate. It's a very simple click of a button that says, request this roommate. They have 7 days to either accept or decline that roommate request before it automatically expires. So please just know that if you request somebody and their time ticket doesn't open for 2 or 3 days later, there might be a little delay in them accepting or declining your offer. But it's very simple, very intuitive. We've built it in such a way that students can not watch these videos and not read a thing and still go in there and do this process.
As you are creating your roommate pairs, there's going to be one of the people in the group that is going to be designated as the roommate pair leader. And this person has a very important role in the roommate pair because they are responsible for placing themselves and their roommates into their rooms during step 3 of the housing application. So this person ideally should be the person who has the earliest time ticket. And so I know that we want to talk about a little bit, if I'm the person that created the roommate group or the roommate pair, am I automatically the roommate pair leader, but maybe I don't have the earliest time ticket, so how do I change that?
Yeah, so once you've created your roommate pair, there's a page that is roommate pair management, and it will show you all of your pertinent information. It'll show your roommate and all their pertinent information. The most important item on that, we are actually going to show you what their roommate selection time ticket was. And so to answer her question directly, yes, if you create the group, you are automatically the pair leader. But once your pair is created, you'll be able to see, was my time ticket earlier or later than my preferred roommate? And if yours is later, like they have an earlier time ticket, there's a little button that says make leader, and you just pass the rights on to that person, and they become the roommate pair leader. That's going to benefit you in step 3, letting the person with the earlier time ticket be able to go in and pick a room for your roommate pair. You can also do that before room selection, excuse me.
then once you've created your roommate pairs, you're gonna wanna be talking to your roommates, getting to know them, talking about all the ways that you're gonna decorate your dorm. So what are some ways that they can reach out to their roommates?
Yeah, so I mentioned before you had the option to include your cell phone, email, all of your social media stuff. Highly recommend doing that if you feel comfortable sharing that information, because we find a lot of students, they text, they Snapchat, they talk about stuff in ways that some of us older people don't. We do have a messaging platform built into the housing portal, but I'll be honest, you have a little inbox in the top left corner of your housing portal. That's where your messages will show up. A lot of students choose not to use that just because it doesn't come to your phone. You have to log into the housing portal to read it. It's helpful to have it there, but we find most of our students are communicating through their cell phone, social media, whatever that platform is. Now, just a word of warning, if your roommate has not shared that information with you, we, by law, cannot share that with you. We can't give out cell phone numbers, emails, any sort of social media information we might know. So if your roommate has elected not to share that information, we cannot do it for them. You would have to use the messaging system within the housing portal.
That's right. So it's really easy to get in communication with your roommate pair once you've created that group. And I think it's just about how comfortable you feel with sharing that information out there. But this tends to be a really fun process for a lot of students. It makes them really look forward to coming to KSU because they've got like a friend that they're coming with, or they're gonna make a lot of new friends.
They're gonna make a ton of friends.
Absolutely, like your neighbors and all of the other residents. So that's really exciting. So we've covered basically all of the really important information about this optional step of roommate selection, but we will take some of the frequently asked questions now and make sure that we're covering everything that you guys want to know. So one of the questions that we get a lot, Chris, is friends that are coming from high school. They're a group of 3 or 4 friends. They all want to live together, but then it's a roommate pair. You can only select one other person. And so we have a lot of students that'll reach out and say, well, I want to live with all of my friends. What do I do? How can you help me? So what would you say to these students?
Yeah, this is a question we get every year during roommate selection. And it comes down to your time ticket strategy. So what we recommend is, let's say we'll start with 3 people and then we can expand to 4. You got to take a look at your time tickets. Who has the earliest time tickets out of your group of 3 or your group of 4? You want the people with the earliest time tickets to create independent roommate pairs so that you have 2 pairs of 2, or anyway, it gets complicated. But the reason you want to use the time tickets to your advantage is because when it comes time for room selection, you're going to have to decide that you're willing to wait until the last time ticket opens for the different roommate pair leaders. And then when their time ticket opens and both roommate pair time tickets are available, you go in together and you pick a unit of 4 or a unit of 3 and you slide in the rooms that way. Now, one of the reasons we changed our roommate groups from 4 to 2 is because we can't always guarantee that we're gonna have 4 beds in the same unit available late into room selection. So again, that's our biggest tip, is figure out your time tickets for roommate selection, start assigning who's gonna create which pair to set you up for success when it comes time for room selection. Total chance, total luck, it all depends on when you started your housing application and completed step 1, because that's what drives your time ticket. So best of luck.
Yeah. Another question that we frequently get is from students who are in living learning villages and are participating in living learning villages and maybe have friends that are not going to be in those same LLVs. Can those students live together if one is in an LLV and one is not?
Yeah, so unfortunately, the way our system is set up, we use different tags for students. So we'll talk about honors, the honors LLV. If you apply for, are selected and accept the honors LLV, when it comes time for roommate selection, the system is only going to show you other honors LLV students on your respective campus. So if you have a friend who's not in the honors program and it's too late to apply for honors, the only way that you two would be able to live together is if you, the LLV student, decide to leave that LLV and give up that opportunity to live with your friends. So it's a personal decision that you'll have to make of, do I care more about who I live with or my experience on campus within this particular living learning village?
And then one of the last questions that we get all the time is, can I, a first-year student, live with someone who is an upper class? Maybe I have a sister, a brother, a friend, cousin who's already at KSU. I would love to live with them. They're considered an upper class student. Can I live with them?
Again, unfortunately not. Our system divides you out along a couple different pathways, one of them being your class standing. So first-year students are only going to see other first-year students who are the same gender and on the same campus, either Kennesaw or Marietta. Our upper class students, they do their room selection before first-year students, and it's likely going to be full before first years even get in the gate. So it's better off to just live in first-year housing as a first-year student.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much for your questions. If you have additional questions, we have probably already answered them in this video or somewhere on our website in our step-by-step guide. So make sure that you are watching this video again for any questions that you might have. Checking out the website once again, looking over the step-by-step guides, and if you have additional questions, reaching out to the Talon One Service Center. They are so incredibly knowledgeable about really all things campus services, KSU, and housing, and so please make sure that you are reaching out to them. As always, we encourage you to connect with us on social media at Housing KSU on Instagram. We have a wonderful team who's always posting about all of the cool things that are happening on campus, and also making sure that you are up to speed on all of the things and information that is important for you. And we hope that you join us for the next and final video.
The room selection.
The room selection video. So we hope we'll see you then, and thank you so much for joining us. See you next time.
Bye.